Welcome to the first ever GT4 World Tour by ESR Race. We are at Bathurst. It is raining, it is lovely, and with me is Ayrton Tobin.
Yes, sir. Enjoying this Burger King car.
Indeed, the Burger King car, very weird as we clip over to Tony Yimbo in the all-conquering Mercedes. Very solid effort from Mercedes right now. They're top five of the top 7. 6 of the top 10. Wow.
Oof.
This is very dominant, actually.
I'm just now realizing these cars have sponsors. the GT4 liveries aren't like as sponsor prominent as, say, the GT3s.
No, because they usually have only like 1 or 2 sponsors, maybe 3.
It's almost like the colors are the forward part of it, which I appreciate. And then the sponsors are just kind of there, tacked on.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. This is going to be an interesting one for the ESR drinking game, because this is the first time we have 2 commentators who are both referring to themselves in the third person while calling the action, and you're going to get really drunk.
Yes, indeed.
Normally, you just have me to do that, because Byron doesn't race unless we're commentating on Wreckfest.
Okay, I have my track map pulled up so I can actually get these corner names correct.
Yeah, you know, here's the thing. Here's the thing with Bathurst, and I've had this speech before. It's kind of weird because Bathurst has a couple of corners that, depending on what track map you have different names. It's very confusing.
Yeah, that as well as more than any other course, like the ratio of the names I can remember. I know all of the names, and I just don't know where they are on the course.
And the weird thing is okay, at many racetracks you'll find a corner that has changed names over the years. Fair enough, but at Bathurst is the only track I've ever encountered that has 2 corners that seem to be interchangeably named after each other, depending on what map you look at, and that's Quarry and Griffins.
Yes. Because
some maps I look at say that what I think Quarry is Griffins, and others say what I think Griffins is Quarry. So it's very weird.
I could have sworn I heard people refer to the downhill S's as the chase, so for the longest time. I'm trying to break free of calling
the chase is that section there after the Conrad.
Yeah, that's the actual chicane.
But aside from that, I'll be honest. I just kind of refer to the top of the mountain section as the parks, because they're all just parks. But
I definitely thought what is McPhillamy was Skyline.
What have you done?
Oh, interesting.
Had a meeting with the wall there in the Boulet Racing.
That is a disgustingly bright McLaren of Matt Higgs.
I mean, McLarens are often super brightly colored, though, so it makes sense. Martinez Mejia, who we know better as Guillermo Martinez. Pushing it off. What's up with the name, Guillermo? You got to check your race app settings, I think, because the entry list
for
this... Who is
this Mejia?
The entry list for this server was taken directly from RaceApp, so you've done something weird in RaceApp with your settings, my friend. Paul Riccobeni in the... Is he the top Camaro? He is the top Camaro. I thought there'd be more Camaros, to be honest. I was pondering taking one, but I very late decided to do this series, because Mondays are my leg day workout, and that historically was a no-go for racing, because... I mean, you think I'm grumpy on a normal day when I'm sitting in the rig going, my knee is locking up. It's a whole lot worse when I've done leg day and then I do racing. That was originally going to be a no-go, but it wasn't too bad. So I'm here, but I picked the Audi because there just weren't any, which has kind of been my thing lately. Pick the car no one else is driving.
There is a nice view of Mercedes up front.
Indeed. We got 3 Mercedes at the front, 4 in the top 5. Really just John Archie and Little Higgs challenging the Mercedes crew. And I mean, there's some guys that you don't even really associate with being at the front up there, like Jake Keckley. No, and I mean, no offense to any of these guys, but Jake Keckley, Tony Yimbo, Trevor Cheney. This is weird. Trevor Cheney's had a good run lately. He qualified really high at Kyalami at the end of the 3D Speed Series. So I'm wondering if he's turned a corner. If he's really figured it out.
I hope so. I say this as a future teammate of his. I'd love to see it.
Either that, or he's just like a very good rain specialist, maybe, because they're both wet races. So
possible. GT4s in the rain at Bathurst is a different feeling than GT3s in the dry at other tracks.
Yeah. So running down the grid further, we've got Trevor Chaney, like we said, Cliff Hemian in the top 10, Guillermo Martinez, Paul Riccobene, Justin Swan in the Bizarro KTM, Mika Watt, the Alpine of Arthur Bellotti, the Audi of Michael Magus, Cole McRae in the McLaren, Justin Credible in the Porsche. Couple of new names, couple of new brands that you probably aren't overly familiar with as well. Rick Martel in the McLaren, Diego Alonso in the Aston Martin, and I believe it's Skylar Caster in the BMW, but I could be mistaken. And that is your top 20. Surprised there were not more BMWs in the field. The BMW in GT4 is actually pretty viable, unlike the M6 at GT3. So much so that actually the new BMW GT3 is slated to just basically be the big brother of the GT4 car. So, go figure.
I just now realizing there's only one Audi out there. And I do love that GT4 Audi.
There is a second one signed up. Josh McLaughlin joined me as well, but he is MIA for the first round here. Please be ready. The drive button will not be pressed by Martin for like almost half the race.
Yeah, so 17 minutes or so.
It's going to be a little awkward, but we'll deal with it. In terms of rules, this is very much like the 3D Speed race. This is kind of a sister series to the 3D Speed. The only difference is this one has a pit stop, which 3D Speed may actually have a pit stop next season, so it will actually be completely twinned again. The race will be wet. There is no random weather component. Well, there is, because when it's wet, there is no way to actually stagnate the wet weather at one point.
So peculiar.
There's always a little bit of random, but you will not get changing weather during the race. There we go. Yes. It'll be the same. Oh, one of the Mercedes didn't get off to a very good start there.
I think that's Keckley.
I think that's Keckley. Yeah. There we go. Keckley comes through. Yeah, he's in the that's the Mercedes livery that I like actually the most. That's very cool. Matt Higgs there in the offensive McLaren 570.
Well, no full lap, so I think here we go.
Here we go. Going ahead towards Hell Corner, the most aptly named first corner in all of racing. Here we go. And to the inside, Jake Keckley. Very good start by the pole sitter, Dominic Turk, or not by Dominic Turcotte.
Murrah really looking up the inside.
Yeah, Murrah up the inside, shoved the leader off the track by basically torpedoing someone. And I think that's Keckley who's going to come out of this in first place. Murrah in second, Higgs in third in the McLaren. We will, of course, not have... We will not have particularly accurate positions on the chart there until the end of the first sector. As we head towards Griffin or Quarry, depending on what map you're looking at.
Yeah, that orange one is Wentworth, correct? No. Wentworth is the black and yellow one. The orange is...
Yeah, I think orange is... Tony Yimbo is my guess.
Yep, it's Yimbo.
We're gonna be getting used to some liveries this time because we're very familiar with what these guys run in GT3.
Of the number plates.
Yeah, we'll handle it. You can see that we do have the whole amateur, silver, and pro deal going on there with the number colors. Don't think it's properly set up on the race app site. I'm gonna talk to Jeff Wentworth. This is his first series. This is his baby, and we're gonna bring it home. That's John Archie in a very cool looking Porsche.
I will say after that first little turn bump we saw up front, I think it's been a pretty clean lap. Looks like everyone's single file all the way around.
That's good. Change for the lead. William Murrah gets it from... Yeah, it was. Murrah got past Keckley in Skyline. Wow. It's very aggressive, but you know what? He did it without any real problem. Paul Riccobene is slipped back to 12th place in the Camaro.
Aggressive, but lap one's a good time to do it before the defender really has his bearing.
It says that's Cole McRae ahead of him. That is not the case. I think he is actually in 11th place and has overtaken McRae. Yes. And that is Martinez ahead of him in the Porsche. The Mercedes very dominant. I think overall, I remember breaking down the GT4 class and doing like 50 laps in each of them over a couple of different tracks and found that I did think the Mercedes was the best of the bunch. But that is one driver's opinion, not necessarily a comprehensive breakdown of the class.
Tell you, looking at some movement, I see Bloody got by Swan on that opening lap. Looks like
He's gotten past McRae
what?
now after McRae made a mistake.
Yeah. Looks like what dropped a few spots and Picha moved up a couple on the opener. Picha was back in 22nd at the start, so.
It looks like Swan got back past Belodi. Oh, Cole McRae!
Who appears to have smashed the wall. We'll see what damage comes from
Hard
that.
hit, yeah. The McLaren will have
Although,
its durability
notably,
tested.
it is not showing any damage after that, so.
They don't necessarily do a great job of visual displays in ACC.
It is
often it's just a couple of it's a couple of scratches you'll see. That's about it. And it can be very big.
It's real gap opening up behind Riccobene. Who touches the wall.
I think that's because Cole was the one behind him and smashed it up. So that will do it.
Caused a bit of panic in the drivers, I'm sure.
This is somewhere in the mid-pack because I recognize Michael Magus's car in this mix along with Arthur Belodi.
Looks like Cole did slot in right behind Picha.
Rick Martel on board with. Looks like no driver's suit for him. I really dislike that the entry list requires you to actually enter driver suits for people. It's very annoying. Well, it doesn't have to, but if you overwrite anything, in regards to say a driver rating, it instantly means you have to overwrite everything. I mean,
I see our purple cars have found each other on the grid. Martel chasing down Magus.
The lovely blue and pink.
Oh,
that's one of the Camaros of John Picha, I think.
Who got turned around there. Yeah. And what appeared to be a hard collision with the wall.
Indeed, we ride with David Brock.
And here you see two very upset Camaros. Full damage.
Indeed. I love that Camaro. Really do. I don't love how it feels as a car to drive. I'll be clear. I like everything about the actual driving.
I'll tell you, I see a hood that is loose and flopping around, and that definitely does not help performance. That's a pretty severe.
That would break the aero.
Straights.
Yeah, that breaks the aero, of course, and this is a real life versus sim sort of difference. The hood being up also suggests more damage than what this would necessarily be in real life. Because it's a damage model. So probably at this point some serious internal bodywork damage and suspension.
But not choosing to pit here. Carrying on with it.
I don't know if the pit window is open because that is part of
pit or not, I mean just speaking of pitting to repair damage if it's that bad.
It shouldn't be that bad, I don't think. Just going on my knowledge of the damage model and the visible cues. By the way, Paul Riccobene up in the top 10 in the Camaro. He's gotten past Guillermo Martinez in the golden Porsche. These GT4s that people may not be familiar with. These are very close to being road cars. Very, very close. The GT4 modulation rules largely.
In fact, a lot of GT4 cars are basically down-tuned from the road cars as far as engine performance goes.
As that is Rick Martel overtaking a Porsche, it appears. He's gotten past Mike Magus as well. Just incredible.
Certainly the reason GT4 is probably the biggest, most popular series. I mean, hey, are you a somewhat performance-oriented producer? You've probably got a car that you can down-tune, and, that'll just help reliability even more.
Yeah, I can't think of a car manufacturer that doesn't have a GT4-eligible car.
Eligible, yeah. I was going to say, there are a few, obviously, that don't. Like, Ferrari, oddly enough, does not run an official GT4.
No, Ferrari actually does have a homodulated GT4 car. Just nobody runs it.
Yeah, they haven't run one for a while, and you will see privateer teams in like Brit Car that runs some at that spec for them. But that is Cheney going wide.
Yeah, Trevor Cheney off the track. Only one Cheney today, no Seth, and that's going to be another spot up for Paul Riccobene, Tony Yimbo up another spot.
Yeah, Riccobene's looking real racy here.
Now, Tony Yimbo is a hard nut to crack, though. He's one of those drivers who has a little bit of blinders on. In a good way. He really does not panic having somebody in his mirrors, so this will be interesting to see if Riccobeni
Good
can get
matchup
through.
then.
As we pick up Cole McRae.
Who we can't see from here, but appears to be right near the bumper of Magnus. Yes, indeed.
Yep, indeed. Trying to chase down the lone Audi in the field. I will say that from my breakdown of GT4, the Audi was actually one of the more disappointing ones. Just because you associate Audi with a fair amount of success in GT racing. You know, that's their bread and butter almost. And the GT4 Audi is kind of a letdown.
Yeah, it is.
It's fine. Don't get me wrong. I like it. It's stable. It's it's pretty
Like I said,
solid.
I think it looks better than the GT3 personally. It's a little shorter, not quite as long and flat. I really like the look it has. Oh,
big mistake by Belodi. He lost a spot to Just Incredible there, and Magus.
Oh,
yep.
Bloody gives in.
The Audi gets past, and Cole McRae smashing the wall a little bit. Feels like Cole might be getting driven more by the car than him driving the car.
And he had to peek up the inside, almost like he was trying to cool down his engine or something.
Wondering if Belodi has some damage. Can't really see anything on the model, but he does seem a little slow.
Yeah, something seems off.
And lost a couple of spots.
And that's not just the Alpine struggling.
Yeah. Well, that's the section of the track I think the Alpine would actually be good at.
Exactly.
It's more the downhill part.
Off. That's right.
Of course, everybody a little more familiar with Alpine with their F1 presence now.
Ah, yes. Ooh, looks like Magus got a nice run out of Forest Elbow there.
You can see a little bit of damage on Magus's car there. Fair amount of scrubbing on the left side.
Can see who's got the straight line speed here. It appears to not be the Audi.
Yeah, it'll be the Porsche.
No, even with the better launch and in his toe, that Audi isn't making tremendous headway.
Yeah. Yeah, I could give a little insider knowledge there as he cuts the chase.
Ooh, some damage there to Caster.
See if he loses. Yeah, Caster a little bit beat up. I'll give a little bit of insider knowledge on that. Admittedly, it looked a little bit worse for the Audi than it actually was. There was some movement from the Porsche. I don't think intentional. I'm not seeking a penalty or anything. But there was a little bit of little bit of lateral movement that was kind of freaking me out a little bit and made me back out a bit before the chase. That's why the gap opened up at the end. But the Audi does have some issues with grunt. Matt Higgs looking back at Jeff Wentworth and John Archie.
I was gonna say we haven't looked up front too much, but I see Jake Keckley has held on to that second spot. With a nice little gap of almost 2 seconds over Higgs.
I think he's being helped up by the fact that Higgs is hanging on to this third. That McLaren doesn't feel like it quite has the right stuff here. But
no, what it does have is straight line speed.
Yes, it does.
Which is the important part here, because, I mean, if you're a good defender, it doesn't matter what speed you have over the mountain.
Well, because the entire up mountain, down mountain, the top of the mountain, not really overtaking zones. I believe in the Enduro, as admin, I actually declared them as completely don't overtake zones, just to avoid the problem.
I mean, I'm thinking that McLaren has... McLaren has great braking, so you can defend going into Forest Elbow, and it has the get up and go to go down the straight, so that's a hard guy to overtake.
That's Tony Imbo off the wall, opens the door for Paul Riccobeni, and maybe Guillermo Martinez.
Oh, maybe.
3 wide into the chase. Is this a thing we're gonna see here? Nope, doesn't look like it. That Mercedes has got great straight line speed.
I was about to say, considering he hit the wall exiting the turn. Amazing.
The Porsche also, the Porsche and the Mercedes and the McLaren are the 3 that I think really stand out in a straight line.
Yeah. The Camaro is not as dominant as a straight as you would think by looking at it.
It has a good power band to coming out of corners, but it doesn't necessarily have the raw top speed, which you can see there, because actually Martinez got past Paul Riccobeni in the Conrad straight there. Although he gets it back. Mostly because Yimbo kind of shut the door on Martinez there, and that opened the door for Paul Riccobeni. Riccobeni, one of the few custom skins, I think the only custom skin in the field today. Yes, that is Cole McRae overtaking Just Incredible.
Bellotti and Magus keeping in tow.
Mm-hmm. And a little bit further back, Diego Alonso in the Aston Martin.
I was about to ask what happened to Martel. I see he's kind of escaping this group.
A little bit. I think there's been some fighting around the Cole McRae region.
I was gonna say the
led
fact
to a
that Cole
delay.
has bounced off the wall a few times has allowed a gap to build there.
Mm-hmm. Jeff Wentworth is the first man into the pit lane for his official stop anyways.
So the pit window is open. Cool.
Mm-hmm. It's Matt Higgs. Oh, rubs the wall a little bit. Now lets John Archie through.
Really
and probably
hard
is
from
going
that
to let
angle to see what happened there. Whether he got out and made a mistake, or the man behind him got a little
I
over eagle and
think
bumped him.
he made the mistake, but we didn't quite get a great view of it.
Oh, well, now he made the mistake.
Higgs off into the wall.
Gotta say, those McLarens just don't take damage.
Which is weird, because in real life they really do.
They should, yeah.
Actually have some of the flimsier bodywork in the field. Very much a supercar manufacturer, which tends not to be great for durability.
Yeah, all those pesky little thin carbon fiber bodies and whatnot.
So Paul Riccobenni still on the tail of Tony Yimbo. Trevor Chaney still hanging around at the top 10, ninth place.
So I see Wentworth, our first man into pit, has reemerged 20th.
Mm-hmm. Looks like somebody in the pits behind him, whoever's in 21st. It's one of the AM cars, but beyond that I cannot particularly make it out. Yimbo's got a little bit of damage on the front end of his Schweid car. That might be impacting it. You can see
what is going on back there?
Bit of a moment there for the Porsche of Martinez as Paul Riccobenni moves into 7th place. Or 6th place, pardon me.
Maybe. It was short last.
Yeah.
Can he hang
kind of
on
overcooked it into hell.
He might lose this to Martinez.
Yeah, he's got no drive right now.
No, he was. He was well out in front, but that's a long straight.
Mm-hmm. And that Porsche's got great straight line speed.
But he does manage to stay ahead of Cheney. Although you talk about
Cole McRae and Justin Credible in the pits.
Okay. You can see the run that Camaro gets out of the turns is pretty strong.
Very strong. I think I really should actually pull up all my notes and do there's a video on it, so you can go look it up on the ESR channel. But I do believe I had it broken down that the Camaro was the best out of corners car. It's just I didn't have a lot of other nice things to say about it.
Oh, I would be interested to know what traction control level Riccobenni is running there.
Probably quite low. As a 2-season teammate of Paul Riccobenni, I know his traction control habits.
All right. Yep, as you said, Credible, McRae, Picha, all in the pits.
I feel like David Brock has made a pit stop, judging by how far behind he is.
Yes,
but it
was too early
out
to
of window.
count,
Yeah, out of window, perhaps. This is Mika Watt with a pretty much the standard Mika Watt livery, white and blue.
Yep, I like it. It's my favorite of the McLaren liveries, if I'm being honest. But then again, I like white-based liveries. Oh boy!
There we go. We have the full interface.
Have power.
So he's trying to run down Justin Swan in the KTM, which was the car that I could not rank that car, honestly.
Yep. Or like the Maserati, it takes some.
No, it's not even that it's the Maserati, because the Maserati I could rank. Obviously, there's some like driver criteria that could make the Maserati better. Yeah. But what it was is that the KTM was so oscillating in performance, track to track, that it was Cole McRae with a drive-through. Speaking of pits, maybe.
I would assume that.
But the KTM was oscillated so much track to track. That was the problem. As Matt Higgs overtakes Guillermo Martinez up ahead.
Yeah, and that KTM is at its limit here for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, he'll have a better time as the season goes on.
Riccobeni and Bellotti in the pits, along with Skylar Castor. Whoa! Mika Watt with a heart attack-inducing moment there with the wall.
Well,
Close encounters of the wall kind.
I see our team of Mercedes is taking the top 3 spots now.
Indeed. And the top pit stopping car is also a Mercedes.
Yeah, that's 5 of the top 6 at this point.
Well, we're seeing Riccobeni higher up, but he's dropping, which means that this is one of those we're waiting for the timing to kind of catch up sort of things.
Yeah. In fact, Mercedes has 5 of the top 6, and that's not counting Wentworth, who pitted first and should be up there as well. So potentially 6 of the top 7.
Yeah, the only people really messing with them are well, obviously John Archie there in the Porsche, but Martinez, Higgs, Cheney kind of in the mix. Riccobeni will be in the mix, I think. But yeah, the Mercedes is an all-conqueror. I think that it's going to be a very good season for the Mercedes, Mark. Now, don't get me wrong, the driver is also part of the equation. This is not me trying to say that, like, you know, anyone up there is not earning it. They absolutely are. But it is definitely a very, very strong car, I think, on most of the tracks that we're planning to race at this season.
I only follow GT4 in America. So I'm not sure about results over in the European League. Has the Mercedes had success over there?
Yes.
Because I was going to say, sort of like the Audi, the Mercedes actually hasn't had much success in GT4, at least on the American side.
That's surprising. Oh, as Trevor Cheney overcooks it a little bit on the way into the pits. Audi and Mercedes do quite well in GT4 in Europe, but it's also because of the teams that they have.
Yeah, this is true. The teams
for
are
example, in European GT4 Championship, you've got ACA ASP and Santalok running Audi or Mercedes and Audi respectively.
Whereas
and
the US side is more the Wild West of privateer teams. Which I would argue means then it's, you know, a bit more open to see the true power of the cars.
I
maybe.
At the same time, I would argue that the America series tend to be, as Michael Magus going on a long run here up into 8th place. The American series tend not to mesh with the rest of the world. I think, honestly, I could be wrong on this, but it seems like there's less factory support out in America.
Well, not just that, but you're running a host of unique cars. The Sim, the Panos, the Mustang to an extent. It's just...
Well, the Mustang is also active, or was. I don't see any on the entry list this season, but they were active in British GT.
Yeah.
Which I was very disappointed didn't come into the game with the British GT download pack.
And I mean, it's noteworthy that the Americans run those cars because not only are they there, but up until this last year, with which BMW dominated, it was actually those 3 cars, which really aren't in Europe, that were dominating the American GT4 side.
There's a lot of variables. I mean, obviously you got driver talent, that's a big one. Finances of the team, tactical know-how of the team, experience of the team, which I guess goes into technical know-how, but in addition, one of the Camaros getting lapped there.
Is that Picha?
It's either Picha
no, that's
or
Tobin. That's Tobin.
Oh, no, not being lapped. That's Tobin for position.
That's for position. Technically, yeah, it's not really a fight, but...
Yeah, the pit stop deal.
Not really a fight for position.
Jeff Wentworth.
Not worth
See, this is the problem with going too early with your pit stop. Jeff Wentworth is actually having to race through unpitted cars.
Exactly.
And it's hurting him a little bit.
We'll see who wins the fight of last to pit.
And the pits here are very much just very much tactical because there's no real tire deg to concern 100%. Yourself with. Not a ton of fuel to talk about in a 40-minute race, so it's really
a little bit of drama, gives you some tactics, but not required.
Whole bunch of cars in the pits: Murrah, Hemian, Martinez, Yimbo, all in. Means we're going to see an incredible aberration for this series as Michael Magus moves into the top 5.
Okay, I said the Audi didn't have success in American GT4. Then I'm remembering it actually was an Audi team that won the championship in recent years. It's just the most bizarre thing because they basically never won. They just somehow
Consistency has its own
consistency
thing.
their ways to a fairly dominant championship.
I mean, to go with an F1 example, there is an F1 world champion who won only one race on the way to the title.
Oh, what's the most recent?
Here is a battle of Camaros. Paul Riccobeni trying to overtake Ayrton Tobin.
I see one healthy Camaro and one very not healthy
Indeed.
Camaro.
Indeed, this is not the fairest of comparison here. As Paul Riccobeni moves up into 10th place. Or actually, apparently higher up. It looks like that was for 7th. And
Yeah.
our timing board just has to update with Yimbo's pit stop. There we go. Paul Riccobeni also having to make his way through some traffic. So, being held up a little bit. Riccobeni looking for a redemption here after a really a mixed bag, I guess I would say, in the 3D Speed Series this season, defending his title there. Ended up finishing not only not really a championship contender, but getting beaten by his silver teammate, Michael Magus.
The Matt Higgs approaching. Again, 4 position technically, but kind of on a different fight.
Yeah, not really a proper battle for position as Tobin.
But notable, it is position, so certainly don't have to pull over by any means.
Jake Keckley in the pits, so that's the race leader. Dominic Turcotte moves to the front for the time being. Just another Mercedes takes the baton.
There appears to be some weaving going on here.
A little wiggle down the Conrad.
I mean, I hear that Matt Higgs just loves watching cars shake their booties.
I mean, it's nice of Mr. Tobin to give him that pleasure.
Ooh, there you can see that braking that McLaren has.
Well, we're also comparing it to a Camaro, one of the weaker breakers in the field, and also a damaged Camaro at that.
On old tires, yes.
As Jake Keckley comes out, and in behind Cole McRae, I think. So that's a blue flag scenario. I was saying, unless there's another, let's see here, P20. Yep, Cole McRae.
So, of our leaders, Mira did pit, but Turcotte still staying out there.
Yeah, it's Turcotte and John Archie are the two main ones that have not pitted. As Michael Magus running in 4th place, yeah! Matt Higgs battling with somebody. Oh, that's Tobin still.
Made it by Tobin finally.
Tobin giving the flash of the headlights. It's John Archie. They're making their way through some lap traffic. It's an Aston Martin. I'm not sure who that is. Diego Alonso, perhaps? I think that is.
All right, Archie's in.
Archie into the pits.
I certainly would think staying out longer would help here. You know, normally you're battling the dilemma of do you want to get caught in traffic, but do you want to undercut on fresher tires? But here with the way that we weren't really pushing the end of a tire run anyways.
Yeah. There's not really a tire life to consider here because these tires can easily do 40 minutes without drop-off on their own. Any drop-off would be the driver getting tired, frankly, or
I mean,
stiff
if you flat-spotted, if you have damage, if you have any reason to pit, it would make sense. But especially if you're like the leaders out front, I can't imagine why you'd go in.
Well, there's a point. Like Turcotte, I think, has actually gone a little bit too long because he's now getting caught up in blue flag traffic that's pitted. So
exactly.
I think he probably should have gotten in maybe a lap earlier. But
plus, like we said, you don't want to go in too early and get yourself in traffic. But if everyone else is pitted, well, then you do have nothing to lose. So might as well go in.
It's all your knowledge of the gaps, which unfortunately in sim racing this is one area where real racing is easier than sim racing.
Oh yeah, I mean you don't have to worry about it.
You'd have the spotter feeding you that information, and in this, obviously you know the gap to the car in front of you, the gap behind you, and so on. But you don't necessarily have where's that window of
really. I mean, it's like you can get that info with a little digging, but not everyone's willing to run with that HUD, nor necessarily should they, and it can be distracting.
Trevor Chaney running behind Mika Watt. Battle for what is 13th on track, probably more like 12th in actuality. Presumably both these guys would pass Ayrton Tobin once he pits, and they're probably both going to pass Michael Magus, who's in the pits right now.
All right, 2 minutes 20, so I assume the last 3 cars are probably going to be coming in this lap.
We got Tobin, Turcotte. No, I only see 2 cars that need to pit. Magus is in the pits right now.
Pits now, so
he's been in there for a little bit, so he should be popping out soon. Not really sure when. Not really sure when the pit stop goes green. Not sure what the queue is.
I really should look into this for my own safety, but do we know the specifics on getting your pit stop to count in the window? Is that when you enter pit road, when you leave it, when you
I don't know, actually. That's what I was kind of wondering. I think it's when the car drops that the pit stop is officially done. Which, judging by Magus's green turn there, I think I'm right.
I was gonna say, but as far as getting it within the pit window,
I think it's the drop. I think
that might be how the game. I want to say it should be as soon as the car enters pit road.
I would agree with that, but I think
that might not be how this handles.
The car has to drop. As Ayrton Tobin now holding up Cliff Hemian. Good to see Cliff back. He's been away for a little while.
Observe the power of a mighty Mercedes against a hobbled Camaro.
Yep. Doesn't even look like they're in the same class, honestly.
Yeah, that Camaro's not even breaking out of 5th gear.
As we pick up Cole McRae, who's mixing it up with the leaders. That's John Archie and Jake Keckley fighting over 3rd place ahead of him, and behind him is Jeff Whitworth.
And Turcotte has pitted.
Tobin's last one.
I pray Tobin was on
the Max Simmons Award winner, Ayrton Tobin. That long run did not work out for Magus. He finds himself behind Diego Alonso. Tony Yimbo's back in 19th place. I don't know what happened there.
Never saw any sort of drive-through, so that must have been an incident somewhere.
It's quite a ways down in the order now.
We're seeing yellow flags for something.
Blue flag for Cole McRae. Mind you, this is the mountain section. There is no expectation of clearing the blue flag at all, frankly.
Yeah. I was going to say...
Not really a safe spot to let someone through here.
Yes, as much of a puzzle as blue flag procedure has been, there's really no questioning over the mountain.
Yeah. Bathurst is one of the simpler tracks there. You probably want to clear it on the mountain or Conrad
frankly,
Straight,
the more moves you do, the more dangerous it is. You can't do anything.
Looked like Cole did let him through there a little bit. He went either that or he made a mistake and turned that into a moment to clear the blue.
If he did in fact let off going, over McPhillamy Park, that is very kind of him, and more than would be expected.
Some cars have to do that a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of cars are doing that just as part of their line. As Diego Alonso and Michael Magus back in the pits. Once again, I can give the insider's scoop there. Diego spun at Skyline and was sideways across the track, and Magus came over blind and should have been more cautious. The yellow flag was out.
There was a yellow flag.
And he hit the side. Not sure if an avoidance would have been possible, just because it is Skyline.
This is true. No matter how much you heed a yellow flag, that is just that's a bad spot.
And both of them are now in the pits with significant damage.
As one would expect.
Their races are not over, but a bit of a mute point right now.
Oh, McRae gets a little slippy back there again. Hell Corner's giving him some issues. Specifically, really late at the exit of Hell Corner.
One of the Mercedeses, I think David Brock getting out of the way. And Jake Keckley trying to show off that Mercedes power against John Archie.
Walking around the outside.
Archie hanging in there.
don't
Porsche
think I've
hanging
ever
in
seen
there in a
someone-
Mercedes world.
I don't think I've ever seen someone actually complete a pass around the outside of quarry.
I have seen it, but it is exceedingly rare.
Yeah.
I would not rank if we go back to my old days of coaching the academy, where I would break down the track as on a tier system of overtaking turns. The quarry would be a tier 1, aka
Yeah, that
the
a
worst
completed pass there
the worst
would-
possible outside of a tier 0.
Yeah. I'm thinking a pass there would definitely rely on the inside guy kind of giving way midway through. Oh, that is Paul Riccobeni. We saw something.
I was gonna say Paul Riccobeni getting into something there. There's a car moving away, but I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Because there's no gap, so that's might have been a blue flag incident. As Matt Higgs goes through into 7th place. Or 6th place, pardon me. I think maybe Hemian might get Riccobeni as well. Shouldn't. I think
Can
Riccobeni
we
can
open
get
the
that
scary
turnaround.
door and impart some insider knowledge here?
Oh, sure.
That was a blue flag overtake gone wrong with Riccobeni getting around David Brock.
Speaking
Who
of David
you could
Brock,
just
at
see there
side
on
road.
the side.
Trevor Cheney on board. He is behind Mika. What? I thought Cheney was in a Mercedes until we started watching this, actually, but he's in an Aston Martin. Which is also a very strong car. No, it's a very strong car as well. I rank the Aston Martin.
Not that he's in an Aston, but that he's not in a Mercedes.
Yeah, he's definitely been a Mercedes guy.
Coming from Team Mega
Seth.
Mercedes.
Mind you, we have no idea if it's his preference, because it could be that his brother loves the Mercedeses. That's why they've been in the Mercedes camp.
I'm surprised he's not out here running a dirt track car.
Jake Keckley running in still 4th. A little bit more of a gap now. John Archie's pulled away. Cole McRae staying with this group pretty nicely, despite being down a lap. So,
despite a car that
there.
should be pummeled to pieces, but somehow just
showing that
maintained
he's got
its integrity.
Showing he's got some pace if he can keep himself out of trouble. Jeff Wentworth, Jake Keckley, longtime teammates. Not teammates in this series, though. We'll see if there's any arrangement.
That's
around the outside of quarry was almost a thing there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was well.
Ooh, that back end stepping out a little bit for Keckley. So he's definitely not trying to let Wentworth through, I'll say that much, because the body language of that car is somebody pushing as hard as they can.
That's for P4, just outside the podium.
Yep. John Archie is still within sight of these guys. Not a lot of time left. Under 5 minutes to go, but probably 3 laps.
I will, as someone who said they prefer the GT4 Audi over the GT3, I absolutely prefer the GT4 Mercedes over the GT3.
It's very good looking. David Brock back in the pit lane, so I think maybe some damage. All right, down the Conrad, Mercedes on Mercedes.
Here we go.
I think Wentworth's got this. He's got the inside line, and I think he got the better exit from Forest Elbow.
Yeah. Almost wonder if he's possibly running just one less notch of wing or something, because that was a sizable difference.
Could it also have been Keckley maybe giving the position up? Maybe realizing that Wentworth has got a little bit of a better car under him? Maybe realizing
that it's not worth fighting, putting yourself at risk, and if he's going to get by, that's a good spot to let him do it.
Settle in, just keep it ahead of Matt Higgs.
Yep.
Must say Matt Higgs has caught up to them quite a bit, because I'm looking at that gap. It was 20 seconds. Let's get an update here if we can when Matt comes across the line. Or wait, no, that's Cole McRae behind.
Okay. He is.
I legitimately thought I saw a yellow car there. I don't know what to say. Justin Swan. He's someone who's come out well on the pit stops. He's up to 8th place ahead of Paul Riccobeni, having an excellent second half of the race.
Higgs, meanwhile, is still 20, so that gap has not changed.
Yeah, hasn't really changed.
And we saw Higgs smack the wall pretty hard. I would expect he has a little bit of damage running on that thing.
Well, he's pretty safe right now. Quite a ways behind Keckley, but quite a ways ahead of Cliff Hemian.
Ooh, big scary Camaro chasing down poor little KTM. Closing
Talk about this is probably the greatest size differential we'll see.
I like that they're both white as
season.
well. It really shows off the differences.
Indeed. that Camaro playing the role that we see in GT3 of the Bentley. Or the M6. Another example.
But not gaining down the straight. Actually, looks like he lost a little bit of ground there.
Well, it
This
depends.
camera is bizarre for the KTM.
We did see the Camaro in the wall, so could be
That's
could
right.
be
He
that
did
it
take
doesn't
some
have
damage.
full could be that it doesn't have full straight line speed right now.
We saw him nose straight in there, which would usually turn up the hood a little, which ACC likes to really hamper that straight line speed.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any damage on him. I'm just suggesting it could definitely be there.
Possible.
It's a bit weird that he seems to be the faster one on the top of the hill, which is
Yeah.
a little spread. This is where I thought the KTM would shine.
Carry a lot of speed around there in that Camaro. This is certainly where you expect the KTM to pull away.
And this is where the Camaro should make up ground because it should be one of the fastest through Skyline, because this is an area where its weight actually helps it.
Yeah. Paul's doing an expert job with those curves.
Indeed, getting very close to Swan. A little bit sloppy on the exit of Forest Elbow though, which is not good because that's where you need to make your run. He's gonna have one more chance through there, I think. It's always a bit weird because you got to figure out where the leader is in relation to the finish line. But Guillermo Martinez is in the pits again, so problems for the Porsche.
Yeah, looking back down the list, I see it's been a quiet race for Martel, still hanging in there, although a solid race. He's avoided a lot of the trouble. Credible, similarly hanging 13th. Bellotti, Tobin up to 15th. Yimbo back to 16th. Martinez, we just talked about. Then McRae, Picha, Magus, starting to hit the guys who have had real trouble at this point.
Alonso, Brock. We lost somebody because we had 23 cars initially. I'm not sure who the name is that we're missing, though. We can obviously check at the end of the race because it'll be whoever is 23rd.
Well, our question was answered. There is one more lap for them.
Oh,
those are
that's
the leaders
William
going
Murrah,
by
and that's either Tobin or Picha.
Yeah, and that allowed Turcotte to catch right back up to Murrah.
Indeed. Dominic Turcotte, I think he's got this because that Mercedes, that is the most damaged car we've seen.
That is one final straight, which I'm sure is going to feel like a mile to Murrah.
Yeah, I can't see him holding this through the Conrad. That
he
run
didn't really
coming
even
early.
try to pull out front block or anything, just kind of resigned to it.
Well, I mean, you really wouldn't. I mean, don't get me wrong, you want that victory, but I mean, it's still second place, and second place is second place.
Nothing he can do there. That's
there's
incredibly frustrating. In fact, it looks like he's giving up on the turn all.
Can't even get through the
Oh boy.
Yeah, that car is being dragged home. So Dominic Turcotte taking the victory kind of out of nowhere.
Made it work.
Yeah. And William Murrah, second in a Mercedes 1-2. John Archie will probably round off the podium. It's not a done deal. Wentworth is within spitting distance.
Ooh, broke up that Mercedes trio.
Oh, I think that's a connection. That's a connection issue, I think.
Oh boy. It looks like Wentworth, after getting by Keckley, will hang on to it.
Yep, Keckley 5th. Matt Higgs will bring
wrestles
McLaren
that
home,
car
probably.
to 6th. Yeah.
No checkered flag yet, but he's quite a ways ahead of Hemian.
Oh, there's still plenty of time for him to throw it away.
There is Cliff Hemian working his way through the chase for the final time.
Wow, very clean race up in 7th.
There is the McLaren, the Balf McLaren.
With a blue McRae in hot pursuit. I know Cole loves his Need for Speed
Diego
games,
Alonso.
but he might be taking that a little too to heart.
Diego Alonso in the Pro Sport Performance Aston Martin.
We didn't see it, did we?
Ricky Benny.
Yeah, Ricky Benny did get by Swan.
Yep. Swan gets still a very solid 9th on a track that does not favor that car. Trevor Chaney gets a top 10. Good work.
Nice.
In fact, I think I think he's top Aston Martin finisher. Mika Wotton 11th.
Is he not the only?
Fleck.
Well, there's only Alonso, the other Aston Martin.
Yeah, Alonso's the only other one. Outside of Mercedes, not very deep lineups for any of the brands.
Martel comes home. Ooh, Mika.
12th place. And, credible. I think Mike Magus will be the... Oh, no, he already finished. We're waiting on Yimbo, Brock, and Castor. So Castor is the one who is out.
I see the 69 of Tobin did make it back all the way around the track in a very stricken Camaro. I was about to say that
he did.
Audi of Magus looked perfectly intact, and I remembered there had been a pit stop to fix that.
Second pit stop, yeah. At the end of the race, that car may not have been fully intact because the way ACC works is there's some damage that ACC will not fix in the pits, which I do like, actually, so it's not a complete get-out-of-jail-free card. The car was not getting great pace. I do suspect there was still something.
You couldn't tell that from the outside. It would work on the showroom floor.
But the body work was fine. But there was something that wasn't working quite right because I was doing like low 223s and low 221 or 22. Pardon me, would have been like the actual pace. So
clearly that pit crew had their priorities straight. You don't need to fix the internals. Just give it some nice polish and buffing. Get it looking pretty. It's good to go.
Indeed. All right, we'll break down the standings. Not that there's a ton to break down. It's basically the results you just saw. But a penalty for William Murrah on the first lap did drop him to 4th place, giving Jeff Wentworth a podium and promoting John Archie to 2nd. So that's the top 3. Murrah, Keckley, Higgs, Hemi, and Rick Benny, Swan, and Cheney, your top 10. There were some other penalties handed out to Cole McRae and David Brock. I don't believe they affected any of the results. Brock DNF'd anyways. And McRae was, I think, a pit stop ahead of Guillermo Martinez. I think he was unimpacted. Bronze winner is Trevor Cheney. And your pro winner, obviously, is Dominic Turcotte with Jake Keckley leading the silver hunt.
Actually, McRae was not a pit stop ahead. He was 22 seconds ahead. I looked at the full standings, which was safe as only received 20 seconds in penalties. So nearly made.
Well, I meant we saw Martinez going for a second pit stop. So
okay, yeah.
He was a fair ways behind, is what I'm getting at. 14 cars finished on the lead lap, which is not bad considering we saw most of the cars that got lapped were lapped due to incidents, shall we say?
Yeah, I don't think we saw anyone get lapped on pace alone. Certainly.
And we'll be heading off to Suzuka next in the series. Just checking out to see if anybody didn't make this race that we're excited to see. Chris Johnston, of course. Josh McLaughlin will be in this series as well. So it'll be good to see them get out there as well. And I'm just looking down the list to see if any other notable names were absent today. And it looks like it was really just those two. In fact, I think everybody else... Oh, no, Seth Cheney. So we will see the Cheney brothers. We're just missing one today. And hopefully we see some interesting action over the course of the series. I guess since we were touching on it, we should probably have a look at like the major GT4 championships to see if we can substantiate our claims about the Mercedes. And I'm pulling up the European GT4 series here. 2020 standings, please. Your champion was AGS Events, which picked up 4 wins over the course of the season. I'm not sure what car they were running. AGS Events. It was an Aston Martin. So, there we go.
Really?
It's always interesting that I don't know most of these drivers at all. And of course, the weird thing is there's a bunch of guest drivers here. Like, I'm seeing a couple of wins from drivers that are ineligible to score points, which is always a bit weird. The Pro-Am class was absolutely dominated. 240 points to 192. Wow. That's a gap. This is a big gap. That was Allied Racing with the Porsche. And the AM Cup also went to Aston Martin. So I guess Aston Martin, based on the results, is the best car. But I do feel that Mercedes is probably going to be the one to be in. And I think today's results did suggest that that is the case. But we'll see over the course of the season. Do you have any final thoughts, Mr. Tobin?
That race went by surprisingly quickly, which is usually a sign of a great race, both in the seat and in the broadcast booth.
Excellent. Not really sure what the commentary status of this series is going to be. If it's going to be me and Tobin going forward, if it's going to be me and my usual partner Byron. We're just a little bit behind, myself and Byron, so wanted to get this out to you guys. And I don't know, maybe it'll fall into Tobin and Cole McRae. I don't.
Was I spacing off there? Did you go over the upcoming calendar for the GT4?
I did note that Suzuka was next, but we can go a little further.
Yeah.
We can go
pretty much
further
takes care of it.
wished. Let's see here. We are after Suzuka, we'll head to Laguna Seca, Kyalami, Donington Park, and Spa-Francorchamps. Bit bizarre. We only have one base game track, which is intriguing.
Is Kyalami not base? No, Kyalami's not base.
It's not.
Right?
It's IGT. So we got the 4 IGT tracks and a British DLC in there.
DLC and then big. Wow, going from like Laguna Seca, pretty tight one, well fitting for GT4 to the big old sweeping turns of Spa.
Yeah, Spa will be the interesting one. I think the next race will probably favor Mercedes. I think the chances, I think, for the other cars to strike back against Mercedes will be Laguna Seca, Kyalami, and Donington Park, I think.
I'll tell you who Suzuka's going to favor, the Maserati.
The Maserati. It's a bold statement, seeing as we have none registered.
We do have one registered for it now.
Do we?
Yes. I have taken the Maserati officially switched.
Okay, so you're going to swap. It hasn't been updated on Race App.
It has not been updated, no.
Gotcha. Full numbers, we got 1 Alpine, 3 Aston Martins, 2 Audis, 1 BMW, 2 Camaros, 1 KTM, 4 McLarens, 8 Mercedeses. So not only are they the strongest car, but there is the most of them, and 3 Porsches with 1 Maserati. We have no Ginettas, so anyone looking to sign up, the Ginetta calls you.
Oh, that's right. I was hearing that with 1 Maserati we would have an entire field, but no one is in the Ginetta.
No one. I mean, admittedly, there's a couple of events here I think the Ginetta could compete in. Suzuka, Kyalami, Donington Park, I think all
Laguna Seca for sure.
Possible. But it would be such a dead duck at both Suzuka and Spa, I think, is the problem.
Suzuka's got enough curves in there. It might.
It's true. Suzuka might be able to do anything, but
especially
it would have been a dead duck
make it
here
out
today.
Of Casio, it might be able to hold its own down the front straight.
Could be. James Butler, get on that. Bring the Ginetta magic.
Exactly.
And we'll finish it up there. So hope you guys enjoyed. What is the first all GT4 race I think we've done? In ACC, I should say.
Yeah.
We actually it might be overall because we did a lot of
practice one. This is the first official one, right?
Well, of course I mean official. I think including unofficial and practice races, we probably have done everything in the various sims we do. But this is the first GT4 only series, I think, overall, because I think even Race Room, we always use GT4 as a complementary class to something else.
Yeah, I feel like there was a GT4 series. We did some GT4 one-offs, but I don't know about full series.
Yeah. We did do that Christmas Cup.
That's what I was thinking. That was a double race at Norris Ring. And
well, there were a couple of races there. It was a
3, I should say. Yeah, it was a double event. 6, actually. There was 3 at Race Room Raceway and 3 at Norris Ring.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Did the triple header, which
Great times.
I actually did quite well in that one.
Yes, that was my only pole I've ever earned in ESR.
There we go.
I do miss it.
All right. Well, we'll sign off at this point, as Martin probably is swearing at us as he's trying to get through all this whole thing at the end. And we'll be back for Suzuka. I didn't get the date of that, foolishly. I'll just add that in. That will be on April the 19th. Other than that, we've got WTCC action and of course GT4 or GT3 Challenge this Sunday. You guys are at Spa, right?
Yes.
And that is the big grand finale, 90 minutes, I want to say, of Spa.
Yes.
So that'll be
Tune in.
Will be interesting.
April 14th, Ultimate Smackdown at the Honda Center. Byron the Giant attempts to take his position back from me. We'll see what happens. I don't want this fight. I'm not looking forward to it.
Well, Byron is huge. The giant nickname is not in any way ironic. I want to make that clear.
I'm just gonna assume that because this is taking place in a U.S. location and the borders are closed, he will have to, lose by 4 foot. That's what I'm counting on here. Anyways,
off we go.